This is the Average to Savage podcast with Paul Guarino. Everyone and anyone, athletes, celebs, and much more.
What's up, everybody? I'm back for another episode of the Average Savage podcast. Our special guest today is Houston Astros utility player Tony Kemp. Tony, what's up?
What's up, Paul, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So how's it going today?
It's going good. Friday afternoon, just went in, last lift of the week, threw some, hit some. Now I'm hanging out for the weekend.
So can you give us a brief background about yourself?
Born and raised in Franklin, Tennessee, about 20 minutes south of Nashville. Went to Freedom Middle School, and then I went to Centennial High School, played basketball, baseball, and football. Stopped playing basketball right around my sophomore year. My coach kind of forced me to either play basketball or baseball, and I chose baseball because, I knew I wasn't going to, go to the NBA at 5'6". So played baseball and football up until senior year, and then final season of football ended, and then got a scholarship to go to Vanderbilt University. Played at Vanderbilt for 3 years, 2011 to 2013, and got drafted by the Houston Astros in the 5th round in 2013 after my junior campaign. And after that, went through the minor leagues for 3 years, made my major league debut May of 2016, and been up and down a little bit since then, but this past year has probably been my best stint in the big leagues, so hoping to build off that going into the next year.
Now, like you said, you grew up in Tennessee. How'd you get into baseball, and what made you, you kind of just answered, but what made you pick to go all out in baseball instead of football and basketball?
Well, growing up, I have 2 siblings. My sister is about 8 to 9 years older than me, and my brother's 6 years older than me. And my brother played all 3 sports, so I wanted to play all 3 sports like him. And he kind of taught me the ropes and how to play baseball and how to play football. He used to set up the cans in the backyard and teach me what holes to go through for football. And in basketball, he taught me, how to shoot a jump shot. And then in baseball, kind of taught me the ropes and how to be a good hitter and a good fielder. And kind of fell in love with it and never looked back. And then once I got to high school, I felt like I could go on and play and hopefully earn a college scholarship, and just kind of stayed in the moment and lived in the present and took it one day at a time. Gotcha.
And you stuck with baseball. So what made you stay close to home and go to Vanderbilt?
Well, at first I only had 2 college scholarship offers. Okay. One was East Carolina, where my brother played, and the other one was Vanderbilt. And I had committed to go to East Carolina to play baseball, and still talking to Corbin, still went on a couple of visits, and that's when Vanderbilt offered me a full ride to go play baseball there. So kind of made that decision and made it a little easier. And coming out of college with no student debt was a big deal, I thought.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of the number one problems with college right now.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, is a problem.
Yeah. And what was your experience like at Vanderbilt?
I always say that Vanderbilt kind of molded me into the man I am today. Going there and learning a lot of different things about myself, about life, about time management and baseball, and learning not only just the game of baseball, but the inside game of baseball, and the what you can learn from the bench, what you can learn in the field, and the way I bunt now is how I bunted in college. So Corbin kind of takes you into a whole different realm of your game, and you can really process and you mold into a different player once you're there. And, I credit guys who go from the high school to the minor league ranks, but college, I feel like, got me ready for the task ahead, especially going into minor league baseball and the grind of road trips, and the hotels aren't as great, and but I think mentally being able to go to Vanderbilt taught me how to deal with a lot of those things.
Yeah, for sure. What's going down at Vanderbilt with all the MLB talent coming up?
Yeah, we have a lot of guys who come back and a lot of guys who give back to the university, and people call it it's a program that it stands in high regard, and having guys like Sonny come back and David Price and Pedro Alvarez and a bunch of guys that are coming back, and Coach Corbin being able to have the alumni locker room, especially, it's a big deal for us because we can come back, work out, and be able to use the facilities. And I think it's nice to go back and especially see the guys in college right now that are, their season starts in about 2 weeks. So being able to see those guys and put yourself in those shoes and remember what it was like to have guys in the major leagues walk around and stuff, and it kind of sets the precedent. You want to be that guy, that the next guy in line.
Yeah, definitely. That's cool that they let you just go back there whenever you want to train.
I love it.
So you were named All-American SEC player in 2013. So was that like one of the decision makers, like you foregoing your senior season to enter the MLB draft?
I think it was a lot of different things. After my freshman year, being the 2011 SEC Freshman of the Year and being an All-American and having that good campaign, and us going into the College World Series for the first time in college history for Vanderbilt, I felt like that was a big deal. Struggled my sophomore year, but I also think that was good for me because first time in my life in baseball, you always are the best player on one of the best players on the best teams, and being able to struggle and go through those highs and lows was good for me. And being able to go to the Cape and kind of put my abilities to the test and see that it was I actually could do this. The best talent in the college levels at that time are all up in the Cape Cod League. So being able to have success up there, and going into my junior year, we went 26-3 in the SEC, set an SEC record, and I hit 390 and was the SEC Player of the Year. And after that season, I kind of felt like my draft stock was at an all-time high, and I don't think that there was much left for me to prove at the college level. So going into being able to get picked in the fifth round by the Astros was it was such a blessing, and it was such a thing that I'll forget. And I remember Corbin, after I got drafted, he just gave me a big hug and he said, "Go get him." And I think he kind of knew at the same time that we were playing Louisville in that super regional, but I think at the same time he kind of knew that I was gonna be foregoing my senior year.
Yeah, for sure. What were you projected to get drafted? Like what round before you got drafted?
I think that we had went into the draft and kind of comparing people, and I think that we said I was going to go. My agent actually said I was going to go rounds 4 to 6, so fifth round, sandwich right in between it. So it was a good projection.
Gotcha. Do you think you should have went higher?
Yeah, I think I could have went higher. Being the SC Player of the Year, I thought that I was going to go in at least the second or third round, but God has a plan for everybody, and I feel like He kind of placed me in that round just so I wouldn't be complacent. And I love the draft because it's so hit or miss, but it gives you that feeling that anything can happen. And being able to go in the fifth round was such a blessing. I thought I could have gone higher, but I think that's why I still have that chip on the shoulder to this day.
That's exactly what I was about to just ask you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like even like when I was just looking up, like no offense to those guys, but like there's still first round guys from the 2013 draft that didn't even make MLB yet.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, I think I was drafted there for a reason. I think my head would have got too big maybe if I was drafted a couple rounds earlier. So it's all a blessing, man. And I'm just happy that my name was called. Period. And being a 5'6" guy going into college, there's a bunch of question marks, and there's a bunch of question marks getting drafted. Well, he's 5'6", he's tiny. Can he play 160 games? I don't know what that means. My body is just going to give up after 100 games. I didn't know what that quite meant, but
I don't get it.
I always love that stuff because it kind of fuels a fire for the task ahead. So I think it was good for me. Yeah,
definitely. And what was it like just getting drafted by the Astros? Were they looking at you before and stuff?
Yeah, I think that the Astros, I didn't know what team was going to draft me. I didn't know, who was in my top 5. We had some draft meetings and stuff for, a couple teams. But, I had no idea. Like I said, it's hit or miss in the it's hit or miss in the draft. But having the Astros take me, I knew that the system was kind of in a rebuilding stage. And, being a second baseman, I knew that they had Jose Altuve. So once I kind of got into Double-A and I was playing second base and being able to be fortunate enough to win a Gold Glove and in Double-A at second base was pretty cool. And once that happened, I think that the Astros wanted me to go back into the outfield, like at the beginning of my college days and my high school days. And once I kind of figured that out, I knew that they kind of had a plan for me because, you know, they wouldn't just move me to the outfield just to move me to the outfield, but I wasn't going to take Altuve's spot, and they were going to have to find a spot for me because I felt like I was moving up the ranks pretty quick. There was not a year, I haven't spent a full season with a team in the minor leagues yet, so I think that's why, you know, they had different plans for me, so that was a good thing, I felt.
Yeah, definitely. I was just going to talk about, like, how did you have success moving through the minor leagues? Because I know sometimes it can be a struggle for some guys.
Yeah, I felt like, you know, mentally I felt like I was prepared, and physically I was in some of the best shape I've ever been in my life. And being able to talk to my brother, he had went through those minor league games, and he went through that minor league grind, and he kind of had some tidbits and some knowledge kind of to pass down my way. So I felt like, you know, being able to take the things that he said and being able to just take little tidbits of other people's and their experiences, I felt like it kind of made me a better player, and I could understand from a minor league standpoint if I was able to make it to the big leagues, you know, how I was going to make it. And you know, it's such a dog eat dog once you're in the minor leagues because everybody wants to make it to the big leagues, and you know, my dad was actually more concerned because he was like, how are you going to do once you get to the minor leagues? You know, it's not a team sport anymore. And you know, I felt like everybody was in my corner and everybody was, you know, on my side. But I think that, you know, talking to my family, I said, hey, you know, it still is a team sport. And I feel like if I could give any advice to some younger guys coming up through the ranks, it would be, don't think that it is a dog-eat-dog world, because, you know, the game will always come back, and it will come back to reward you if you think about the team first and, you know, moving guys over and hitting sack flies and bunting in situations that you don't want to bunt in. But, you know, I think the game always finds a way of rewarding you. So I always wanted to be that team guy, that always could, you know, my team could count on me for, you know, little things, whether it be a guy on second base, no outs, and I'm rolling over on purpose to get myself out, but to move a runner into scoring position with less than 2 outs. And you know, I think that's a big deal. You kind of pass it on to the next guy. So, you know, I would say don't get too wrapped up in dog-eat-dog world and it being selfish, but always to be that team player. Yeah,
for sure. And speaking of team, I'm pretty sure, didn't you win like a lot of rings in the minor leagues?
Yeah, I won a ring everywhere in the minor leagues except for Double-A.
Yeah, that's crazy. Didn't you win, like, because you were on both teams, and so you won like 2 rings in one season, right?
Yeah, so my first year in 2013, I was in Tri-City, which is short season, and I was there half of the season and half of the season in Low A, and both those teams went on to win championships. And yeah, so I got 2 rings that year. Next year I started in High A, and halfway through the year I went to Double A, and then the High A team ended up winning the championship, so I got a ring there. And then next year I started in Double A, left for Triple A in 2015, and we ended up winning the national championship in Triple A and the PCL in 2015, so we won a ring there. So yeah, I had a lot of success as of late, and being able to be on that 2017 World Series team for the Houston Astros was something I'll never forget.
So your trophy case or your ring case is crazy right now, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of big. I'm not gonna lie to you. My man cave looks kind of nice.
I know. Going back to like you moving up and down in the minor leagues, like how'd you deal with that? Like going up from the majors, going down from the minors, and even when you were going through the minors, just like ranking up in the minors, like how are you dealing with like all the moves and all that, and still playing baseball like well?
Yeah, I think in that regard, you just have to take care of yourself. Yeah. You know, obviously be a team player, but you know, you have to take care of yourself, making sure that, you know, I watched the Defiant Ones, and it's a documentary on HBO, and it talks about Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre and kind of how he came up in the ranks in the music industry. And Jimmy Iovine talks about, I think one thing that was huge that stuck out to me in 2017 that really helped me was he talks about horse races. And you know, in horse races, they have blinders on for a reason, because, you know, you can kind of compare it to humans, and you can compare it to they have the blinders on so they don't look at another horse's, how they're doing in the race. And I feel like that is very comparable to, how we live our day-to-day lives. And, you should never compare your life with somebody else, and you should run your own race. And, what he said right there was big for me, because I could kind of understand that, because, there's times where I'd look over and be like, how is he moving up? Or, how it's sad that he's killing it and he's moving down. I don't get it. And, once I watched that documentary, I kind of just said, you have to run your own race, and you have to be mentally strong in this game. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to hit the fan that, you can't control. So it's very cliche, control the controllables, but that's really all you can do is control yourself, control what you eat, control your body, and control your mind, and just keep moving, because, tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow is not promised. So give all you have today, and once you look in the mirror at the end of the day, is you only have one question to ask yourself. It is, did I do my best? And if you did your best, then you'll sleep well that night. So I think that going forward, just if I could give advice to guys that get moved up and down, it's that you all you can do is control yourself and control your attitude, and no one can dictate how you think. So just always stay in that positive mindset.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing I think people don't realize is how much baseball players actually travel.
Yeah, I think that's a huge deal. Baseball players travel a lot, and especially in the minor leagues, and bus trips, and then playing the next day, and how your body feels. And especially in AAA, once you get to AAA, you actually start flying. And people think it's better, but it's actually worse, because, if it's Sunday night and you just finished the game, then you have a flight at 6 a.m. the next morning, and you might have a layover. So leaving Fresno, you lay over somewhere, and then you get to the city. Say you're playing in El Paso. It's 1 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon. You take a 2-hour nap, and then you're headed to the field for a 7 o'clock game. And once you're in the big leagues, it gets better, because if you're playing in Houston and you finish a game, and it's usually you travel on usually day games, and if you travel on a day game, then you're flying out after the game on your charter flight, and if it's a night game, then you have an off day the next day. So the travel in the big leagues is a lot better. I'd say that's a big difference.
That just gave me a headache.
Yeah, man, it's you get used to the travel. So, when I was in the minor leagues, I would just say, on a travel day when your body's not feeling good, I just say grind for one, which means just grind for one hit. You get one hit, grind for two. So, you just grind it out, man. It's a mental haul, and it's a physical haul too. But you just got to stay in it, and you just got to hope for the best and stay positive.
Yeah, definitely. Tell me about the story, how you got called up to the big leagues.
Actually, a pretty cool story. I felt like all the stars were kind of aligned. We actually had just gotten into Nashville, so I had a bunch of people on the pass list. We were playing the Nashville Sounds in 2016, and I wasn't on the 40-man roster. I didn't think that, my whole goal was to have a good season and get protected and get put on the 40-man roster in that following offseason. And once we got to Nashville, I was hitting pretty good. I was hitting right around 300, and I knew our team in the big leagues was kind of struggling at that time. And after the game, I was talking to some teachers and some family out on the right field line, and Nolan Fontana came to get me, and he said, "Hey, we have a team meeting." And I knew we had kind of been struggling at that time, because we probably lost 5 or 6 games in a row. So a team meeting probably was probably called for. So I told my friends and family, I said, "Hey, I'll be back, but don't leave. So I'll be back after the team meeting." And so I ran up to the clubhouse, and Tony DeFrancesco is the manager, and he said, "Hey, did you talk to everybody out there?" And I said, "No, but I'll go back out there after this meeting." And he said, "They had a problem with your pass list. You're not going to be able to put 20 people on the pass list tomorrow." And I said, "Why not?" He said, "Well, unless those people are going to be traveling to Chicago, you're not gonna have a pass list for this team." I knew that the Astros were playing the Chicago White Sox at the time, and man, that was I wish there was a photographer in there to take a picture of my face, because my jaw just dropped, and he said, good luck, go get him, but you're gonna be playing the White Sox in 2 days. And it was actually a good thing because I had no suits at the time, and I remember my mom and I we ran up to the mall and got me a gray suit and a blue suit at Macy's, and we had an off day in Chicago, so that was my first time flying first class. Yeah. And flew up first class to Chicago, and went up. Tyler White hit a double. I went up, pinch ran for him, and scored a run on Jose Altuve sac fly. And next day started, had 2 hits. And first pitch I saw in the big leagues, I hit a double down the left field line off Matt Latos, and man, that was probably one of the highest, other than getting married, probably one of the highest moments in my life.
Yeah, we don't want to make the wife mad.
Yeah, you got to include her always.
And what's it like playing for the Astros with like all the talent on the team? Like, you guys are stacked.
Yeah, it's an organization that definitely it makes you better. I feel like, I always get questions like, hey, would you rather be on the Astros and be a bench player, or would you rather be on another team starting every day? And I kind of think it circles back to, God puts you in certain places for a reason. And, I'm here for a reason, and I'm doing what I need to do at this time right now. And I can honestly say being on the Astros, it makes you a better player because there's so many good players around you. And, having those good players around you, it elevates your game even more. And, the saying iron sharpens iron is, it's true. And being able to win a World Series and being able to play in the ALCS last year and being able to build off that season last year is, gives me a lot of confidence, just because, you can tell that the guys that are in your corner really care about you, and it makes you a better player. So going forward, man, I'm excited for this next season.
Yeah, for sure. And that leads into my next question. What are your goals for the 2019 season?
I'm really not a goal-oriented person long-term. I usually like to take day-by-day goals or maybe weekly goals because, we're all different. Like Alex Bregman likes long-term goals, monthly goals, and I like short-term goals because, I feel like those goals they're quick and they're more attainable. And, I think my goal for this season is, hey, it's simple. Make an opening day roster, first opening day roster of my career, and from there, just kind of build off that and, see where it takes me. And no matter what role I'm in this year, I'm going to give it my best and I give it my all. And, being able to have a lot of failures in the past have led to my successes in the future. So, I'm confident going into this next year, and I'm excited to see what it holds.
Yeah, definitely. And how do you guys come up with all these celebrations?
I can't give away all the secrets, but the celebrations just come with they just kind of come naturally. They don't come planned. They just kind of come in the dugout, and we just kind of do them.
Yeah, it's funny, too, because, like, my friend kept on asking me, like, who do you think's going to, like, win this year? And I was like, the Astros' chemistry is just, like, crazy. And obviously you're good. So, like, I was just like, they might do it again.
Yeah, man, the Red Sox, some of the luck that we had in 2017, it just seemed like the Red Sox just had that luck on their side this time.
Yeah, for sure. And tell me about the Hugs for Homers, because I know you started a campaign and then you donated money and stuff.
Yeah, so the Hugs for Homers thing kind of was a cool campaign because, got Evan Gaddis to, be my big teddy bear. I just jumped on him, and, we kind of started it in AAA with Garrett Stubbs and A.J. Reed and Drew Ferguson, who's now with the Giants. But, we started kind of like was a college thing, and we was just having a lot of good fun in AAA, and it kind of correlated to the big leagues. And, I asked those guys, hey, can I use this and put it in the big leagues? And they said, sure, that'd be awesome. So raised about $7,000 and wrote a check and, donated all the money that we got. And it was for a good cause. So, it's good to do stuff like that because, once you have this platform, it's always good to give back.
Leads into my next question again. You're always on point this whole interview. How important is it for you to give back? Because I saw you just had a baseball clinic at your high school, and you always do giveaways and, the Hugs for Homers and all that.
Yeah, I just, hey, we're human beings too, and, some people... Yeah. Some people kind of lose they lose that. And, when we're going through struggles and stuff, they hate us, and we're going through good times, they're our best friends. So,
yeah.
I always find it comical. But, to give back to kids, man, it's just, you never know the impact you can have on a kid's life, doing little things like camps and being able to have them come for free and not have pay a dime, just show up and bring your bat and your glove and, just have a good time to get out of the house and get away from the video games and be able to just have fun with your friends and have fun with people that, you know, you might meet at a camp. You never know what friendships get built at camps too. So I'm just happy to help in any way possible. And, you know, like I said, once you have this platform, be able to give back, you know, it means a lot to me.
Yeah, definitely. You ready for some fun questions?
Yeah, sure.
All right, you got to finish this sentence. When Tony isn't playing baseball.
When Tony isn't playing baseball, he is playing darts.
You like darts?
Yeah, I have a dartboard in my man cave, and whenever the guys come over, we always have some good dart games and even some dart tournaments. So we have a good time.
What's something people might not know about you?
I love documentaries.
Okay. What did you recently watch?
Recent documentary I watched was 30 for 30, the Deion Sanders one that just came out.
Gotcha, I didn't check that one out yet.
Yes, good.
What are 3 baseball jerseys that you gotta get in your closet?
Oh, I know. I've had some good ones. Edgar Martinez just got in the Hall of Fame, and he's downstairs right now. Got Clayton Kershaw. I think the number one for me right now would have to be Ken Griffey. I mean, that was a guy that, I mean, the kid. I mean, he's one of the best players to go down in Major League history, and I would like to have him and Mariano Rivera probably. Number 3 is a tough one. I have a Craig Biggio signed ball, but I think it would be cool to have a Craig Biggio signed jersey down there. So I'd probably say those 3.
Was there any second baseman that you modeled your game after or looked up to, or outfielder?
Tony Womack.
Oh,
Arizona Diamondbacks, second baseman.
I remember Tony Womack.
Small guy, left-handed hitter, played second base, and he was my inspiration growing up, along with Ken Griffey. And
where can people find you on social media?
Social media at Tony Kemp on Twitter and at Tony Kemp 6 on Instagram. I try to stay off social media when I'm hanging out because, you know, Apple came out with this whole FaceTime thing, so I'm trying to not stay on my iPhone as much. But I enjoy social media. It's fun to. I like sending videos. Me and Lance McCullers usually send funny videos back and forth to each other.
Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for having me, man, and hope you have a good rest of your day.
All right, you too.